guys, welcome back to Naily by Nature. My name is Naily. On this channel we talk about spirituality, law of attraction, self-improvement, self-actualization, and so much more. So if any of those topics interest you, please remember to hit the subscribe button and support your girl. And if you enjoyed this video, please remember to thumbs up, comment below. I love hearing from you guys. So let's get into today's video. This is a video that I've been thinking about for a while. This is a topic that I've been thinking about for a while, and it's this idea of going back to normal. So we are now in September, and I live in New York City, and I feel like this month all the kids are going back to school, people are going back to their jobs, and they're about to start their normal 5 days a week schedule in the office. So many people are now being sent back into the office after working from home since March 2020. And I just want to say this. I feel so weird and just anxious about going back to normal because one, how can we go back to normal? And two, what is this new normal? And three, what was three? How can we go back to normal when the world is on fire and we can see it?
Climate change is now rapid, widespread, and intensifying. That is according to a devastating report by the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which warns that many human-caused effects are now irreversible.
Tennessee to find those still missing after tremendous rainfall devastated the area. They got more than 17 inches of rain there in just 24 hours. This is a new study shows that the record rainfall across Germany and Belgium last month, you may remember those pictures, that was made up to 9 times more likely by the climate crisis. Meanwhile, other end of the spectrum, more than 90 massive uncontained wildfires are
to the Taliban claiming overnight that they have taken total control of Afghanistan.
Colombia, violent protests. After the country's president Ivan Duque ordered 7,000 military personnel into the heart of an uprising.
Dispara! Gunfire echoing through Port-au-Prince after the president was assassinated. Then, just 36 hours after a group of more than 24 Colombians and 2 Haitian Americans allegedly killed the president, most would either be detained or declared dead.
The death toll continues to rise in the conflict between Israel and Hamas militants. Overnight, a bomb from an Israeli air raid struck a residential building in Gaza, killing at least 10 people, including children.
Delta surging, hospitals around the country being pushed to the limit. The U.S. now surpassing 40 million COVID cases during the pandemic, and more than 252,000 pediatric cases reported just last week. That is the highest weekly total yet. And children hospital admissions are on the rise as well, at their highest point on average, about 365 children being admitted to the hospital each day.
Countries are rising up against their authoritarian governments, or the fact that the economy is collapsing in itself, or that the fact that there has been inflation, or the fact that climate change is taking a toll globally. I live in New York City. We had 2 huge hurricanes back to back. It seemed like as businesses we're just not even just making out of the pandemic, because they're still struggling from the cost of the pandemic, but as companies are just trying to, especially small businesses that are trying to like claw themselves out of the pandemic, here comes a fucking hurricane. And this past hurricane, it really affected New York City. I don't think people understand, because New York City does not get floods in the way that we've had floods recently. Like, I've lived in New York City my whole life, born and raised, and the way New York City flooded, it's like something I did not see ever. Usually you hear stuff like that happen to people who are living in like the suburbs or in upstate. It rarely happens in like Manhattan or in like very city types of areas in New York City. So the fact that it was just happening everywhere just lets me know that this is going to be now something that businesses who have stores have to think about. Like, this is going to be something that they're going to have to now add on as insurance, because most New York City businesses didn't even have flood insurance, you know, like they didn't think that that was something they needed. But now I'm sure that this is going to be something that not even just businesses, but people who have homes in New York City will have to think about, having insurance, because flooding is going to become like a very normal thing here in New York City. It's the same way that fires in California is now a very normal thing, and people take out insurances on people take out insurance on their homes in case there is a fire. And so we're seeing all of this happen, right? We're seeing the coronavirus evolve and become, something even more deadlier, like Delta, like this new Delta variant. And we're not even over that hill, but we're just being pushed to go back to work. Go back to work, go back to work. And I feel like it's mostly businesses and rich people telling us to go back to work.
Back to the office, apparently. That's the view of the head of the country's largest bank. He's had enough with Zoom. Listen.
We want people back at work, and my view is sometime September, October, it'll look just like it did before. I'm about to cancel all my Zoom meetings. I just think I'm done with it. I remind people, it's got to work for the clients. It's not about whether it works for me. And I have to compete.
And JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon is holding his ground on not getting pulled into woke corporate culture. Listen.
We have the same principles about free and fair and open elections as most other people. Getting into the detail in 50 states, we're not going to do.
And it's really frustrating because I feel like not enough people have had enough time to actually register the events that happened within the pandemic and how these effects are still happening globally. We're seeing people die by the thousands in countries all over the world because of this virus, or the fact that climate change is taking a toll on countries and especially poor people all around the world. And this is going to cause mass migration, and are we ready for that? And the price of everything has jumped in substantial amounts that it's just... It's actually crazy. I recently went to a Mexican restaurant, a local Mexican restaurant, and I've been going there for years, and there's a dish that I normally buy. It's about $17, $18. I went there this week to get the same dish, and they jumped their price from $17 to $39. It's just chicken, shrimp, and rice and beans. I don't know if the price of chicken and shrimp, or I don't know which one of the items, the rice or the beans, if that went up. But I guess like everything, the cost, not just the cost of food, but like the cost of labor, the cost of, rent, everything, like that's how much this plate of food went up, from $17 to $39. And that's not just gonna happen at these local restaurants. Like I went for my Dunkin' Donuts coffee, which is, I get a small iced coffee every day. It's like $2 and some change. That price went up almost $1. It's now $3.91 with tax. Like that's crazy. For one small iced coffee, $3.91. This is Dunkin' Donuts. This isn't even like some type of fancy type of store. It's Dunkin' Donuts. I'm paying $3.91 for a cup of iced coffee. I think that people are acknowledging what's happening, and they're raising their salaries aren't even rising like that, right? Because companies are still trying to make up for the pandemic. So they're not even thinking about giving their employees a raise. And I'm not talking about these like fast food restaurants that suddenly gave their employees a $15 raise, or a jump raise from $7 to $15. I'm talking about people who work in like corporate American companies. There are so many people who have jobs like these in New York City or in any city in America. These are young people, and it's like their salaries are not going up. So you're raising the cost of everything. People are already wondering like, what's gonna happen? How are we all gonna meet? Because how are we going to all catch up too? And the thing is, someone's going to have to bite this bullet. A lot of people want to get back to normal because this pandemic has opened up wounds and has shown us the imperfections everywhere, whether it be in our politics, our finances, the world issues, the fact that people are suffering that we have an addiction to just constantly being happy, to constantly having things. It's really shown us who we are. And I think a lot of people have had enough of it because it's a lot. It's a lot to face yourself. People had a lot of time alone, and they had time to kind of look at themselves in the mirror, and they had time to look at their lives. And it's a lot because a lot of people don't want to do the work of healing. And so a lot of people are rushing to get back to normal because this doesn't feel good. Being alone doesn't feel good. You know, not having constant interaction, constantly doing things, constantly flexing. Like, these things don't have, they're not giving the serotonin. They're not giving the high that, you know, their normal life was. So people are rushing to get back to this normal. And at the same time, there's people who are just like, I can see what's happening. Everything's collapsing, and we're just trying to act normal. And it's so frustrating for people who are in the same position as me, because it's just been it's been overwhelming, because you're seeing everything as it is, and you're trying to process why we are all acting like it's okay, and what's next. It seems like the message I'm getting from, you know, the people who rule this world is that, hey, nothing to see here, move along, people. That's just what I feel is the message I'm getting from our government, from governments all around the world, from businesses. It's just nothing to see here, everybody back to business. We're still seeing what it is. We're still processing and acknowledging everything that's happening. And here's the thing. Shit has been fucked up for a long time, even before this pandemic. But the situations that were always happening in the background before the pandemic, it hasn't gotten to a boiling point. And now it seems like we're at that boiling point. And it's very unclear about how we're going to move past this boiling point, or if this is the end of, this is where we all get off at this boiling point. Because I don't feel like our government or any organization is giving us, the people, any direction. You know, we're not getting the right direction from CDC. We're not getting the right direction from our government. We're not getting the right direction from, you know, news television stations or any news outlet. It seems like no one knows what to trust. No one knows who to trust. And people are just doing their best, because the amount of information we're receiving right now is so overwhelming. And it's almost like I would rather check out than to understand and research and process this information and come down to a conclusion, than to just ignore it and just focus on my life. And you can do that. You can block out everything that's happening in the world and just focus on your life. But somehow it seems like these outside events do interrupt your life, your daily life. Especially if you're on any social media, which is kind of hard not to do. And staying off of social media is really difficult, because social media isn't just Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's also now news outlets. Like, news outlets report what's happening on these social media platforms, or what's happening between celebrities, or what's happening in the international world, right? Like, you're going to find news some way, somehow. And you're going to be connected some way, somehow. So it's really difficult to kind of disconnect from social media. And you can try to do that. You can try to, you know, cut yourself out from the outside world and not have, you know, what's happening around the world or what's happening in your community affect your day-to-day. But it just feels like no matter how hard you try, these outside events do interfere with your daily life. You know, whether it's like you're focusing on your life and boom, a hurricane hits and now you got a flooded basement. You know, you can try to, you know, block yourself from what's happening in the outside world, but the outside world does seem to find its way into your world. I guess it's just kind of finding the balance, but personally for me, I am struggling with kind of going back to normal. I feel like I can't even be myself when I meet new people. I feel like it's been that long since I've been around so many people that integrating and adapting it's weird, where I could be so fake at work. Like sometimes I would just, you know, when you have to be that work persona and you develop some of these relationships with people who, you know, they're not your type of people, you know, they're like kind of the gossipers of the office, but you want to have good relations with them, so you keep like a, you know, a cool relationship, but deep down you can't stand them. Like, it's been so long that I had to act like that. And working in corporate America, you're gonna meet a lot of personalities. And I used to be an executive assistant, so this was like my day-to-day, where I had to like kind of have these fake relationships. And for me, I don't want to do that shit anymore. I don't think I have it in me to fake a smile. Like, I just kind of want to be like, fuck you, like that's it. Like, I just want to like, I don't want to fake it. I just want to be me. Like, I just want to be me. I just want to be real. And I think that's why I have such a problem with people trying to push onto this new normal or just go back to normal, because it's like, why are we being fake? Why are we all being fake about it? You know, it just seems like we're all trying to act like everything's okay. And I'm not saying people should panic. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say either. Like, we should be panicking and like, but the rush to get back to normal when so much has been opened up to us seems a bit controlling, you know, like all these companies who are forcing their employees to go back to the office when data shows that people are just as efficient and, you know, just as hardworking working from home than they are working in the office. So why do companies need their employees back in the office? And it's a thing of control. The people up top always want to control the people at the bottom. It's a fact. Like, the way the government wants to control the people, employers want to control the people. Data collection is real. The amount of information they have on people to control them, it's really important. And that's because we, the people, have the most power. And it seems like we don't ever come together to kind of join forces in kind of ending a lot of the bullshit that's happening around the world. And I just feel like I'm at that point where I'm over the bullshit, over being fake, over the pointless job, just working a 9-to-5, working this day-to-day. I feel very over it. And I wanted to make this video, hopefully, to just connect with other people. Like, am I the only person that feels anxious about going back to normal and interacting with people and being fake or just pretending like what's happening around the world isn't happening? The fact that millions and billions of people will be suffering every day because of this pandemic and because of everything that's happening in the world. And I wanted to really make this video to connect with other people, to understand if there's a lot of us out there who feel weird about going back to normal. And, you know, maybe create a community, because that's how I feel like movements can really begin, is like when people come together and they're like, yeah, I feel the same way, and we feel less alone about it. Anyways, I would love to know what you guys think about this video. Comment below if you feel the same way or if you don't. You know, some people are really excited to go back to this new normal, and that's really cool. I know I have a lot of friends who are rushing to get back to everyday life, and there's a part of it that I do too, but for the most part I just don't see how any of this new normal makes sense. But comment below your thoughts, thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through. I will see you guys in my very next video. Bye.